Greetings to everyone. Mr.Recaps here. Today I'm going to continue a storyline for the third film Alvin and the Chipmunk, released in the year 2011. This film continues from the first and second films, in which the Chipmunks and Chipettes are on vacation on a luxury cruise ship. But they were unexpectedly stranded on a deserted island. They tried various ways to get home, and by accident, they also met a woman. Will we be able to go home? Let's keep going with the story. Spoilers ahead. Stay safe and enjoy. The film starts with a view of a luxurious cruise ship, which they all intend to vacation on. On the luxury yacht, we see Alvin starting to get very messed up. This makes him get headaches. They were also holding a concert in the middle of the cruise ship. At night, they were getting ready to meet the captain of the ship to apologize for the behavior of the chipmunks, who had messed up this afternoon. The captain of the ship was very upset with his behavior. Alvin then feels sad because of his actions, which made the Chipmunks and Chipettes unable to even attend the dinner and have fun. Then Simon meets him, trying to give his opinion. So that Alvin promises that he won't act again. Simon knows Dave wants to take care of Alvin, but sometimes the kids want to have a sense of opportunity for fun. Simon just wants Dave to trust Alvin again. That's what made Dave think before he left. Theodore then gave Dave a necklace, and Dave wears it too. Dave told them not to irritate him any further. When Alvin changed his clothes, Simon asked where he was going. Alvin then told him that he wanted to go to the casino while Theodore was watching TV, but the shows were very scary, which made Alvin nervous. He turned the channel to Not Scary. Now they have already changed their clothes and started dancing in a different place. While Simon continued to search for Alvin's whereabouts in the casino, while the Chipettes were dancing, Eleanor accidentally bumped into a woman's shoe. Eleanor then apologized to her, but a war of words ensued, as well as a quarrel. Finally, the Chipettes triumph over the battle band. Dave then apologized for Alvin's behavior while talking to the captain. Suddenly, Dave saw someone wearing a duck costume. Then a man in a duck costume walked past him, spilling hot coffee on Dave's pants. While Dave was cleaning his pants, it turned out that there was a man in a duck costume. It was Lon, and Dave was asking, "Why did you do that to him?" Lon said he works there and he accidentally made Dave spill hot coffee on his pants. Later, when Dave went back to his room, all the Chipmunks and Chipettes were not there. He was scared of Theodore, who was watching a horror movie, and it was actually a really scary movie. Dave went to the casino to find Alvin and Simon. Then Dave gets them to return to his room. All of them were scolded by Dave because if they violated again, they would be expelled from the ship and they would also miss the International Music Award. So, everyone apologized to Dave. The next day, Dave invited the Chipmunks and Chipettes to go upstairs on the ship. And he said that, luckily, because the captain still gave you one opportunity to forgive them. Dave explained the game to them. After that, they were playing, and Dave would always watch over him by relaxing. But Alvin knew Dave was very tired and Dave was asleep. Alvin then offered to trade his game with the fat man. And he flew on a kite because they were also blown by a very strong wind that made them shocked. Simon began to pull him and tie kite to Dave's chair. But Dave didn't wake up from his sleep. Make his chair drag in the wind of the kite. The wind was too strong at the time, causing his chair to fly away, causing Dave to fall on the board and attempt to follow them. But it was too late because they flew away from him. Lon, who saw that, rode a parachute with Dave to find the Chipmunks and Chipettes. They left away from the ship because they objected to each other, making them fall into the sea. Luckily, the duck costume could help them. Back to the Chipmunks and Chipettes. When they saw an island, they landed on the island, arriving there. They were all very angry with Alvin. But Simon had separated them. Because there was no food, Alvin said that the donuts could be saved to survive their lives. It turns out the donuts were actually eaten by Theodore. On the island, everyone tries to prepare coconut for signage SOS by asking for help. Alvin also tried to make a fire, but he couldn't do it. Simon then had an idea, so he took his glasses, put on the sun, and made fire successfully. Jeanette then greeted him, and the fire touched Simon's foot, making him run into the water. Now that the fire was successfully made, they sang together at that time. Back to Dave and Lon now. He is also on the same island. But the entrance was different. Lon tried to calm down to make fire on this island. When it was time to go to bed, Alvin tried to calm his friends down by saying good night together. Now they were preparing to sleep, but Theodore also turned off the fire because he always turned off the light when going to bed. In the morning, Alvin had given people bark to them as breakfast. But because the taste is so bitter, they can eat it. So, Simon has an idea and invites them all to look for fruit in the forest. Suddenly, Alvin finds a fruit that he wants to eat alone. Fortunately, Brittany caught him, and they were competing to take fruit until fruit fell in front of Theodore. While they were both chattering, Theodore took the fruit, and Jeanette grabbed it, and they tried their best to grab the fruit. They finally stopped because they suddenly heard a sound from the bushes. So, when Chipmunks and Chipettes set a trap, it turned out to be a woman, not a beast. She's named Zoe and has lived here for a very long time. The Chipmunks and Chipettes also introduced themselves to Zoe. But she can't understand some languages. Instead, she makes an emotional face. It turns out that Zoe has been on the island for 9 years. Now the Chipmunks and Chipettes were scared of Zoe. She also said that there were other friends on the island. Then they all went to Zoe's place. It turned out that Zoe's friends were just inanimate objects. After getting her friends, Zoe also invites them all to her party to have fun. It seems that Zoe often goes to that place. That's why the party starts happily. When everyone arrived at Zoe's residence, Eleanor wanted to go down, but apparently, she couldn't, and finally she fell down. They all panicked. Simon was very annoyed with Zoe. He started to tell everyone at that time that he had been bitten by an insect. That made him panic because he knew that it wasn't an ordinary insect. This insect could change a person's personality. Zoe was even more perplexed by the fact that she had been bitten twice, no less than twice. Back to Lon and Dave, who went around the forest looking for Chipmunks and Chipettes. Unfortunately, they could not find them. At night, suddenly Alvin really missed Dave, and Dave also missed Alvin. Everyone was getting ready to sleep when suddenly Simon seemed to be wandering in his dream. The next morning, when Simon woke up, he started wearing a headband because of the footsteps Simon made Theodore wake up, and he asked, "Where are you going?" Brittany then woke Alvin because his brother wasn't there. Alvin was looking for him. When Alvin met Simon, he was suddenly shocked because Simon's behavior had changed 190 degrees. I realized that was the effect of being bitten by an insect. It was Theodore's turn to jump down the tree, but he fell down. They tried to adjust to their environment, and they changed their clothes too. Jeanette also made Eleanor a cane for her aching leg and didn't forget the wheelchair. Simon came right away and gave a handshake to the creation that made Jeanette fall in love with him. Suddenly, rain fell, followed by Theodore and Eleanor unexpectedly dancing in the mud. But this makes Brittany and Alvin dissatisfied and angry. The next day, Brittany realized that Alvin was about to build a house. Then they all want to cross a bridge whose height is very high. So, they start to cross it, but when Simon and Jeanette cross it, suddenly the bridge seems to collapse. Simon also saves Jeanette. They all reach the side of a waterfall. Welcome them bravely. Simon tries to jump into the water. Inside the water, he meets a fish, and he wants to eat it. But everything had changed. He managed to save himself and arrived at a shiny new place. At the edge of the waterfall, they were all waiting for Simon anxiously. Because Simon did not go up, Zoe threw her inanimate friend, but it came back again to her. Simon then went upstairs and gave something to Jeanette. That's made Zoe, who curiously asked him where it was found and whether there was a diamond in it or not. However, she tried to ask Simon many times, but Simon instead replied about ragged teasing. There was a funny incident. At night, Zoe visited her inanimate friend, and she said that they had found everything here that Zoe had been looking for many years. In the morning, Alvin, who was building a house, was finished when he saw the house made by Brittany. Even better than his house. Then they talk about how they will be safe until Dave comes to help them. But Alvin thinks differently, and no words will come that make Theodore eavesdrop. At night, going to sleep, Theodore told Simon they would meet Dave again or not. Simon then told him that he would also help find Dave. Zoe had gone to the waterfall, and she had gone inside. She saw a lot of rocks and a small hole. She tried to dig, destroying the rock, but failed, then she returned. But it turns out that in the cave there are lots of treasures. Now it's time for Simon to go on his search journey. Simon also finds traces of feet. He thought they were real animal footprints. This footprint is the costume worn by Lon. Lon and Dave were away when Dave heard the sound. He thought it was the sound of helicopters. But instead, that's how Lan's stomach sounded. Because they have not eaten anything yet. Later, Lon was very confused thinking about the past, and he talked with Dave. He also apologized to Dave for things he had done wrong in the past. They then hugged each other, and he also forgave her at that time. While Simon and Theodore were hiding behind a tree, Theodore noticed something on the other side that terrified him. But it turned out that that was Lon and Dave. However, Theodore still doesn't know them yet. He's just scared and thinks that's a fierce beast. On the other hand, Brittany tells Alvin that the volcano has been active and it looks like a volcanic eruption is about to begin. He also tells his friends to run and escape quickly. Back to Lon and Dave. Now they are fighting. Lon was very hungry, so he fought with Dave to eat food off of Dave's necklace. Until the necklace falls on Simon's body, making Theodore realize that it was a necklace that he had given to Dave. Finally, Theodore met Dave, and they hugged each other. Immediately, there was a shock indicating that the volcano was active. So, they run faster to find other chipmunks and chipettes. In the next scene, Alvin has shared his plans with his friends. Suddenly Dave came, and they were shocked to see him. They then hugged Dave. Alvin, who was so sad, wanted to apologize to Dave, and he thought that Dave wouldn't look for them. But Dave explained to him that he was trying very hard to find them and he didn't want to get away from them. Dave and Alvin hugged. Because time was running out, Alvin started to share his plans with them. Now they have a plan to make the boat afterward. But Simon and Jeanette had not arrived yet. That showed us that they were both on their way to the boat. Suddenly, Simon's head hit the ball and Jeanette was being chased. The basketball made her fall into the hole. Before they all started to go, they were looking for Simon and Jeanette. Fortunately, Simon was found and he was returned to the old Simon's brain. But he is not with Jeanette and he also doesn't know where she is. Suddenly, Brittany found a ball. She realized that Zoe had brought Jeanette because Zoe wanted gold. When everyone was looking for Jeanette's whereabouts, they then tried to cross the bridge, but Simon said he couldn't cross it because he was afraid of it. So, Dave ordered Lon to take the children to the boat and wait for him. After that, Dave returned to the bridge. Finally, Dave and Alvin had crossed the bridge. They then continued to find Jeanette. Moved behind the waterfall, it turned out that Jeanette was with Zoe. She wanted to use Jeanette to get the jewels. Because she needed a small creature to enter the gold cave. So, she told Jeanette to put gold in her mouth and get out of the cave. But luckily, Alvin and Dave had caught up with them at that time. Then Dave asks Zoe, why did she do that? It's realized that Zoe lived for 10 years looking for treasure on the island. Suddenly, there was an earthquake. All three of them managed to escape and run outside. But when they passed on the bridge, Jeanette's rope was captured by Zoe, causing Jeanette to be pulled to Zoe. Simon tried to help her. Unfortunately, it didn't work, and meanwhile, Alvin had the idea to break the rope. But it turns out the rope couldn't be cut. That's why Dave had the idea that it needed a sharp tool to cut the rope. Dave then threw a knife at Alvin. And Alvin successfully cut the rope. After that, they all escaped from the bridge. Unfortunately, Dave was the only one who slipped on the bridge. Suddenly, Zoe was very angry. She came to the bridge and stepped on Dave's hand to make him fall off the bridge. During that time, our duck hero appeared to talk with Zoe. Lon also said that she wanted to kill him. It is not my problem. But you know, I plan to take revenge on him for many years as well, but what was gained was failure, all property was lost. This is not the fault of others, this is not someone else's fault, it is your own fault. But for her, she thinks she has spent years searching for wealth and the result is her own. Does she really want to kill him to make amends? Really? It's really useless. What to do now? Save him and we leave here. Later, she thinks that it was all her fault. She tried for years to take the treasure, but instead made others suffer because of her. After thinking that, she tried to help Dave get back up. Then they all hurried out of there and headed for the boat. Everyone got on the boat and tried their best to row the boat forward to escape the volcano and leave the island. In the final scene, they leave the island safely, at which point Zoe apologizes to Jeanette. So, Jeanette forgives her, and she gives the crown gold to Zoe. For a while, there was a helicopter flying by, and they tried to shout for help. And the helicopters saw them and came down to help them. Afterward, our Chipmunks and Chipettes had a big concert with a lot of fans, and they sang beautifully. As for Lon, he found Dave, telling Dave that he had corrected himself. Because of Zoe's story on the island, he wrote and sold it to Hollywood. And the satisfied company bought his story to make him get a lot of money back. That means that his mission to help Chipmunks and Chipettes has given him the same experience and benefits. Now they were onto the plane. Alvin acted by talking into the microphone of the plane that they got on the wrong plane. So, everyone needs to press the red button on the seat of the aircraft. And made Dave very angry and yelled at Alvin again. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and give like to help the channel out. See you in the next video. Mr.Recaps says goodbye.